We
Dr.
are live
McCullough
now.
seems a bit low, a bit on the lower side. Your audio is little low.
We are live now.
Your acha. Now we are live. Friends, we are announcing here that we are at Bangalore and we gathered from all across India, doctors, professors, engineers, journalists. We are here and now Dr. Peter McCullough directly from Dallas, US, he is going to address us. So now, Dr. Peter, now you can address us.
Well, Ashutok, thank you so much for that introduction, and thanks to each and every one of you for joining tonight's broadcast. I'm Dr. Peter McCullough. I'm a practicing academic internist and cardiologist in Dallas, Texas, and I spend about half of my time in clinical practice and the other half of the time as an author and editor and a clinical investigator. I'm the current editor of Reviews in Cardiovascular Medicine, the former editor of Cardiorenal Medicine. And I've spent the last 2 years dedicated focus on COVID-19. I have 54 peer-reviewed publications in the National Library of Medicine, and overall 650 plus publications in the National Library of Medicine. I'm a frequent contributor on the major news channels in the United States on COVID-19, and I've testified twice in the U.S. Senate and recently led and co-moderated the panel with Senator Ron Johnson titled COVID-19, A Second Opinion. There's a reason why people in India are seeking an alternative healthcare system, just like they are in the United States. And the reason is people have lost trust in conventional medicine. They've lost trust in their doctors over COVID-19, and they've lost trust in the public health agencies. I am at the Conservative Political Action Committee meeting in the United States right now. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I addressed America on the stage today. And I told them that I've learned 5 important things regarding COVID-19. And they are as follows. The first is that the virus is only spread from an ill individual to a susceptible individual, from symptomatic to susceptible individual. There's essentially no asymptomatic spread. And if it happens, it's negligible. That means from the very beginning, we did not need to have lockdowns. We did not need to have public masking programs. We only had to quarantine those acutely sick until they could be treated and rendered non-infectious. The Great Barrington Declaration was correct when the Great Barrington Declaration said that we just need to protect our seniors and our high risk individuals, and everybody in society can have normal functioning. And so it was a giant mistake to lock down the world and to lock down large countries like India and all of the large countries in East Asia. It was a giant mistake. The second point is that the testing, the nasal or oral PCR or nasal and oral antigen testing, is only indicated for acutely sick individuals in order to aid in the diagnosis of COVID-19. None of the tests, nasal or oral, are approved or scientifically supported in asymptomatic testing. That means all the routine testing done for travel, for schools, for employment, for government, all of that is an overreach. It's not supported by the World Health Organization. It's not supported by any of the regulatory bodies, and it's not supported by the science. So asymptomatic testing should have never been done and should not be done in the future. The test should only be used for acutely symptomatic individuals. Point number 3, when someone recovers from COVID-19, they have natural immunity. They have protection against severe disease with the same strain or another strain in the future. The Omicron variant has broken through natural immunity. That's happened. And so once somebody's recovered from Delta, they can get an Omicron infection, but it's a mild infection and it's one that can be managed at home without any clinical concern. Most patients need no medications whatsoever. But the recovery from COVID-19 is the most important status. It's far more important than whether or not someone's received a vaccine. If employers are concerned about COVID-19 as a public health problem, They should be keeping track of who's had COVID and who's recovered from COVID. It's far more important than any other factor and far more important than whether or not someone took a vaccine. Point number 4, COVID 19 has always been a treatable illness. Always. The principles of treatment are to start early at home to avoid two bad outcomes: hospitalization and death. And we start right in the nose with nasal and oral virucidal washes using dilute povidone iodine or dilute hydrogen peroxide, squirting it up the nose, sniffing it back, and then spitting it out the mouth. That's a thorough nasal wash. And we can do that up to every 4 hours in acute treatment, and it's very effective. It's extremely effective. And there are 3 large randomized trials, 12 overall supportive studies supporting the use of oral nasal virucidal washes. It reduces the viral burden in the nose so the body can fight off the infection. And we should never let COVID 19 replicate in the nasopharynx without virucidal treatment. We use additional medications. In the United States, we can use over-the-counter vitamins and supplements, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, quercetin, and over-the-counter antacid medicine, antihistamine, famotidine in high doses. In the United States, we use monoclonal antibodies, and I've used them in my practice throughout my practice. And importantly, the monoclonal antibodies do markedly reduce the risk of hospitalization and death. Additionally, we use oral antivirals if we can't use monoclonal antibodies, and they include hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. Now we have oral Paxlovid, which is a combination of nalfenpiravir and ritonavir. We have molnupiravir from Merck, and we combine it with azithromycin or doxycycline. Corticosteroids, budesonide, are used by nebulization throughout. Oral steroids on day 5 or pulmonary symptoms. Oral colchicine, oral aspirin, and then anticoagulants, most frequently enoxaparin given subcutaneously. That's what's called sequence multi-drug therapy for COVID-19. It's been copyrighted, the McCullough protocol, to be respectful to me, but I work with many others to put this program together. And importantly, sequence multi-drug therapy in every study to date where we have a fair comparator group reduces the risk of hospitalization and death at least 85%. And the most recent drugs improve that success rate very likely to over 95%. So COVID-19 is always treatable in high-risk patients. Because Omicron is so mild, there should be very few high-risk patients in India that need that form of intensive treatment. But when they're sick enough, Indian physicians should be ready to do that. Point number 5, and the final point, is that the COVID-19 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, Sinovac by CoronaVac, none of the vaccines are sufficiently safe nor effective to mandate on society. Their safety and their efficacy has not been sufficiently proven. In most countries, the federal governments have not even made a single report to the population to tell them how the vaccines are doing, and no one should accept a vaccine on blind faith. No one should take a vaccine into their body against their will. That violates the principle of autonomy. That's one of the reasons why people want a separate healthcare system. They want the principle of autonomy back. The principle of autonomy says that you and only you have control over what goes into your body. And you may, under no circumstances, receive any pressure, coercion, or threat of reprisal for whether or not you took any form of a vaccine or whether or not you took any form of an oral or parenteral medication. The principle of autonomy says that you yourself are in charge. Now, I'll finish with a final thought. This is what I left America with today in my address. There are 3 important circles in your life. There's the circle of medical freedom. And that medical freedom means your free choice to what's done to your body and the medical decisions you will make for you and your family your entire life. That's your circle of medical freedom. You control your own bodily autonomy. In many ways, that's the only thing you really have. Your body is your only real possession that you have. The second circle is the circle of social freedom. And social freedom means your freedom to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. That means your ability to get education and to go to your houses of worship, to do the things that you want to do in life. And the final circle is the circle of economic freedom. And that's your freedom to be gainfully employed, have a livelihood, achieve the financial goals that you want to achieve in life. So the circles of medical freedom, social freedom, and economic freedom are linked. And if the circle of medical freedom is touched, let alone broken, all the circles fracture, they all break. And we lose our freedoms across the board. We are seeing a threat to the circle of medical freedom with mandates. Mandates for a vaccine, and I don't care how good the vaccines are, when they are a threat to an individual's personal medical choice, that's threatening the other circles of freedom. And the decision is in your hands as doctors, your hands as citizens of India. And only you can decide. This is a decisive moment. If everyone tomorrow declined the vaccines, the vaccine program in the world would crumble. It would absolutely crumble. And so it's in your hands. And the moment can't be more decisive. Please, please make the right decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your country. And I give you my strongest support in developing a healthcare system or a layer of healthcare in India where it really values these principles, values the principles of autonomy, and values the principles of the art and the science of medicine. India has some of the most talented physicians in the world. Let's let those talents shine to the best they possibly can to improve the health of other citizens in your wonderful country. Those are my words tonight. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Like to ask you a question. Then Dr. and Raman Bhaskar and Dr. Praveen Saxena. Dr. Kushwaha, please ask.
The very foundations of medical ethics of not harming people have been, kind of violated in this pandemic. Should I repeat? I think he's not understood.
Please sit here.
Dr. Kushwaha, please repeat your question. I guess he has not understood.
Dr. Peter, can you hear me? I think he's not able to hear me.
Ashitok, do you have questions curated for me, or can I go ahead and turn the program over to the Indian doctors to take it from here?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Kushwaha, sir, your voice is not reaching. Please repeat your question. Dr. McCullough did not got your question.
Okay. I wanted to just convey that during this pandemic, the very medical ethics of not harming people first, no patient has been violated by vaccinating everyone despite a very clear risk of adverse event following immunization.
Yes, we
Are you getting
cannot.
audio?
Yeah,
Mayank, are you getting the audio?
I'm just trying to get to a quiet area. No, it is a violation of medical ethics. It's a violation of medical ethics to um, to pressure or provide coercion or threat of reprisal for taking a vaccine that has clear risks. There have been large numbers of people who have died within a few days of the vaccines. In the US CDC VAERS system, by my direct query last week, on the initial presentation for the safety submission, there were 12,670 deaths. Now, more than 50 deaths with any product in American medicine is pulled off the market. Now, death appears on the safety form with a comprehensive query on the initial or follow-up forms in over 23,000 cases in America. 23,000. These are staggering numbers, and no one can be forced or feel pressured to receive a vaccine that has this risk of death with it. And when we apply the Bradford Hill tenets of causality to death, we conclude that on a more probable than not, and almost certainly as a preponderance of the evidence, that the vaccines have caused the deaths. We have over 1,000 papers published in the peer-reviewed medical literature now in the preprint system and PubMed. We have over 200 papers published on myocarditis with the vaccines, and extends all the way up to the age 60 in men. And it's clear we have published cases, autopsy proven cases of myocarditis death in the peer-reviewed literature. So it's not a matter of debate on whether or not the vaccines cause death. They do cause death. They do cause death. And because of that, each and every person must make their own choice on whether or not they're willing to take that risk.
Dr. McCullough, I had a question.
Yes.
Nice to see you again. What do you think will be the effect of the FDA's and Pfizer data being released to the public, which is going to happen, I think, on March 1st?
We know that particularly Pfizer, which is the lead company in the United States, that they're being pressured in a lawsuit by lead attorney Aaron Siri and a public health professional review committee. And I'm the chairman of that review committee. Pfizer has 400,000 pages of their dossier on the product and safety reports. And now that information will flow to us over the next 8 months, in the first bundle of information that's come out, is actually leaked by Pfizer employees. Pfizer knew about thousands of deaths with their vaccine within the first few months of administration. And Pfizer's overall randomized trial program, including the follow-up data, in the randomized groups has more deaths with Pfizer than they do with placebo. And so because of this, Americans are demanding transparency. They're demanding to understand what went wrong in the vaccine program. And Pfizer and no company can hide this. It's going to come to light.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peter. I'm Dr. Banerjee. I appreciate your standing up for honest science, and you have been an inspiration to people all over the world. The purpose of USO, Universal Health Organization, is to have transparent information. One of the mysterious thing in this pandemic has been censorship of scientific information, any alternative view. So our purpose is to have a platform of exchange of hard data, like you have mentioned, hard scientific truths rather than opinion, and We will be open to the general public to question us, and we will provide the answers, and they can also provide the answers which we will curate. We will check the authenticity, and any statements, be it WHO, be it CDC, be it any body which we feel is not very correct or which is doubtful, we will be analyzing it and putting the facts and figures, and we will open to any scientist or any expert or any lay person also to challenge us, and that is our purpose. So how successful in your view this is going to be?
I think it's a
Information.
wonderful idea because it's going to force fair and free interchange of data. It's going to force appropriate review. And none of our public health agencies have, in a legal sense, of what we call judicial notice. Judicial notice means that facts are accepted as given, and that doesn't exist anymore. Any type of scientific fact or observation put forward from our public health agencies demands independent, fair review. Peer review is the lifeblood of medicine, and I'm very glad you hear
We will be
hear that
using a
that's going to
platform.
occur in India.
You will be using a platform for this as a beginning, and then we will invite debates also. Anyone can debate on this. So I think thank you, Dr. Peter, and now I hand over to Mr. Asutosh.
Thank you.
Raghav is. Am I audible to you? Gopi, am I
Ashok,
audible to you? Can you ask some question?
You are echoing.
Ashutok, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'm going to leave it to the leaders of the call to handle the rest of the organizational details. But it's really been a pleasure to join you tonight, and I'm going to have to rejoin my group here at the program. Thank you.
Nice to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, Gopi, you please go ahead with your concept idea and some views. You share your views.
नमस्ते नमस्ते सबको नमस्ते. कैसे हैं सब? Am I clearly audible? Okay. बहुत खुश हुआ सबको देख के, सब एक साथ मिले हैं. एक्चुअली मैं छोटा हूँ आप सबसे, मैं कुछ ज्यादा आपसे बोलने की बात जरूरत तो है नहीं, पर फिर भी हमारा जो अमेरिका के पूरा एक्सपीरियंस हुआ है, वॉट एवर वी हैव लर्नड, उसको थोड़ा शेयर करना मैं चाहता हूँ. तो बात यह है कि we learned a lot in the last 2 years, but उसके ऊपर we had also learned a few things before the whole, we had also learned a few things before the whole COVID thing had begun. तो उससे पहले भी कुछ चीज हमको नजर आ रहा था, तो उसके बारे में बात करने के लिए अभी थोड़ा टाइम लूंगा. पहली बात तो यह है कि we had all heard यहाँ पे that the medical system is very good. हमारे सब दोस्त लोग वही बोल रहे थे, क्लासमेट्स वही बोल रहे थे, और फैमिली मेंबर जो भी थे, they were all of the same opinion. पर as we started looking into the medical system, as हमारा एक दोस्त भी हॉस्पिटल जाने लगे, तो एक एक करके we started understanding more कि what it is and what it is not. तो उसके मुताबिक अभी एक मैं अपना स्लाइड भी शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. आशुतोष सर, यहाँ पे स्लाइड शेयर होता है क्या?
हाँ, आप शेयर कर दीजिए, मैं स्क्रीन पे ले आऊंगा।
एक सेकेंड, अपलोड करना पड़ेगा, एक सेकेंड। हाँ, सबको दिखाई दे रहा है? मेरा स्लाइड दिखाई दे रहा है सबको?
यस सर।
ओके। हाँ, तो अभी स्लाइड चेंज हो रहा है? चेंज हुआ?
हाँ जी।
ओके। तो पहली बात तो यह है कि हम लोग ये जो सिस्टम है उसको जब डीप में देखने लगे तो पहली चीज ये तो है, जो अच्छा है वो है कि बहुत जल्दी आपको मेडिसिन मिल जाएगा, बहुत जल्दी अटेंशन मिल जाएगा, सब कुछ मिल जाएगा, बहुत हाई टेक्नोलॉजी है। लेकिन साथ साथ कुछ चीजें हैं जो लोगों को पता नहीं है, जैसे कि द मोस्ट एक्सट्रीम फॉर्म ऑफ स्पेशलाइजेशन एग्जिस्ट इन द यूएस। मतलब बिल्कुल हाथ वाला पैर के बारे में नहीं जानता है, पैर वाला हाथ के बारे में नहीं जानता है, हार्ट वाला ब्रेन के बारे में नहीं जानता है, वो इतना स्पेशलाइज हो गया है कि हमारा जो दोस्त है वो जब हॉस्पिटल गए थे तो एक पेशेंट को देखने के लिए लगभग 30 डॉक्टर्स थे। हर एक 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 पीस देख रहे थे, हर एक अपना अपना ड्रग दे रहे थे, तो पूरा पिक्चर किसी के पास नहीं था। तो वो पहली बात है। दूसरा चीज ये है कि जो यहाँ का जो प्रॉफिट मोटिव है और यहाँ का जो गवर्नमेंट का कंट्रोल है मेडिकल के ऊपर, वो बहुत एक्सट्रीम है। जैसे कि यहाँ पे आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, जो अभी 2018 में एक आर्टिकल आया कि गोल्डमैन सैक्स के बारे में, गोल्डमैन सैक्स पूछ रहा है, इज क्यूरिंग पेशेंट्स अ सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस मॉडल। देखिए इस एक्सट्रीम पे जा रहा है कि एक्चुअली पब्लिकली ये चीजें पूछे जा रहे हैं। मतलब सोच भी रहे हैं ये लोग कि क्या हम क्योर करने वाले हैं क्या कि नहीं करें। तो ये इस सिचुएशन पे आ गया है। मतलब जब पेशेंट को क्योर करने से आपका जो एक कस्टमर निकल जाएगा तो आप बिजनेस कैसे चलाओगे? ये जो मेंटालिटी है ये एक्सट्रीम पे चला गया है, यूएस में हर जगह फैल गया है। दूसरा चीज ये है कि जो गवर्नमेंट का जो कंट्रोल होता है ना, वो भी बहुत एक्सट्रीम पे चला गया है ऑलरेडी। वो लोग जानते नहीं है क्योंकि जो टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर ज्यादातर वो अ, अपने पूरा अटेंशन रहता है, तो वी डोंट सी ऑल दीज थिंग। उसका एक बहुत मतलब काफी खतरनाक एग्जाम्पल है, जो अभी 2020 में एक आर्टिकल आया कि forced sterilization policies in the US targeted minorities and those with disabilities and lasted into the 21st century। मतलब 2009 तक, मैंने देखा है 2009 तक ऐसे इनके पॉलिसीज चालू रहे। तो जो चीज हमको लगता है कि दिस इज वेरी गुड, दिस इज द अल्टीमेट टॉप नॉच थिंग वगैरह, व्हेन यू लुक एट इट केयरफुली यू सी दैट इट हैज वेरी वेरी ह्यूज फ्लॉज एंड थोड़ा एक्सट्रीम पे चला जाता है। तो इस एक्सट्रीम पे जो जाता है उसको हम उससे हम क्या सीखें? क्योंकि जब हम WHO की बात करते हैं, फाइजर की बात करते हैं, मॉडर्ना की बात करते हैं, ये सब जो चीज बात करते हैं, 99% उनका कंट्रोल यूएस में है। सो वॉट एवर इज देयर इन द मेडिकल सिस्टम ऑफ द यूएस, वो पूरा वर्ल्ड में फैल रहा है। दैट इज द बिग प्रॉब्लम। तो जो चीज अच्छा है वो शायद आ सकता है, जो चीज बुरा है वो जरूर आ रहा है। तो what is it that we can learn about this situation from what happened in the US? उसके लिए एक्चुअली हमारा रघुराम राजन ही एक हमको हिंट दिया है। उन्होंने एक काफी अच्छा किताब लिखा है, द थर्ड पिलर करके। वो बोलते हैं कि हमारे सोसाइटी जो है वो तीसरा पिलर को भूल गए हैं, क्योंकि सोसाइटी का हमेशा 3 पिलर होता है। एक होता है अपना इकोनॉमी, दूसरा होता है अपना गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट जो बोलते हैं, और तीसरा होता है जो हमारा बेसिक कल्चर, एजुकेशन, मेडिसिन, वो सब को संभालता है। ये 3 पिलर होते हैं। जैसे अभी अभी डॉक्टर मक्कलो ने भी यही कहा, 3 रिंग बोले उन्होंने, 3 रिंग्स, एक का मेडिकल का, एक दूसरे सोसाइटी के साथ साथ, और तीसरा इकोनॉमिक। ये जो 3 है, ये 3 जो पिलर होते हैं, अगर ये तीनों पिलर्स बराबर नहीं होते, तीनों पिलर स्टडी नहीं होते हैं, तो सोसाइटी अपने आप एक तरफ या दूसरे तरफ इम्बैलेंस होके गिरना शुरू हो जाता है। तो ये जो उन्होंने किताब लिखा है, किताब इसी के बारे में लिखा है कि हाउ मार्केट्स एंड द स्टेट लीव द कम्युनिटी बिहाइंड। मतलब हम तीसरे पिलर को भूल गए हैं, इस इसके कारण हमारे पूरा सोसाइटी के ऊपर व्हाट हैज बीन द इम्पैक्ट। तो इसी चीज को हम देख के जाएं तो हमको समझ में आता है कि मेडिसिन में हमारा कोर प्रॉब्लम क्या है। मेडिसिन में हमारा कोर प्रॉब्लम यह है कि यही 3 पिलर मेडिसिन में भी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहे हैं इम्बैलेंस के कारण। पहला चीज तो यह है कि मेडिसिन में भी प्रॉफिट बहुत बड़ा हो गया है। तो लगभग 80% अपना मेडिसिन जो आजकल का इंडिया में भी ऐसा हो रहा है कि फार्मा, बिग फार्मा, हॉस्पिटल्स, बड़े बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स जिसके हर एक ट्रीटमेंट के लिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा पे करना पड़ता है, या तो डायग्नोस्टिक सेंटर 1000 टेस्ट करवाते हैं, जाते हैं तो डॉक्टर देखते भी नहीं, टेस्ट के ऊपर टेस्ट चलता रहता है। तो ये सब जो है मेडिसिन को प्रॉफिट के वश में ले चुके हैं। तो एक एक्सट्रीम पिलर है, ये पिलर बहुत बड़ा हो गया है। दूसरा भी पिलर है अपना, हर जगह गवर्नमेंट के जो मेडिकल हॉस्पिटल्स होते हैं और गवर्नमेंट्स के जो रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज होते हैं, या तो गवर्नमेंट के जो एडवाइजरी बॉडी होते हैं, जैसे आईसीएमआर है, अपना हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट है हर एक स्टेट का, वो सब है, और बीच में अपना पॉलिटिक्स भी घुस जाता है। तो ये पूरा सिस्टम जो है मेडिसिन का, ये ही ज्यादातर अपना पूरा कोरोना का जो चक्रव्यूह है इसको क्रिएट किया। ये प्रॉफिट एक तरफ और गवर्नमेंट दूसरी तरफ। तो ये 2 पिलर ने क्या क्या किया है, पूरा मेडिसिन को छीन लिया अपने वश में, और इन दोनों के बीच में हम फंस गए हैं। लेकिन पिलर्स के मुताबिक तीसरा भी एक पिलर होता है, वो है जस्ट मेडिसिन। मतलब बेसिक हीलिंग प्रोसेस जो अभी आप लोग कर रहे हैं, आप सब लोग मिलके जो बना रहे हैं, वो सब क्या आता है, वो सब थर्ड पिलर के मुताबिक आता है। तो अभी इसमें यह है कि जब थर्ड पिलर की बात करते हैं, हम हमारा जो गोल्स है, हमारा जो एक्शन आइटम्स है, हमारा जो अप्रोच है, वो फार्मा के प्रॉफिट मेडिसिन और गवर्नमेंट के मेडिसिन जो हर एक को एक ही चीज बोलता है, इस तरह के मेडिसिन से अलग होना चाहिए। तो ये जस्ट मेडिसिन जो है, इसको लेकर हम आगे जाने का कोशिश करें तो अमेरिका में जो एक्सट्रीम्स गए हैं, इसको हम अवॉइड कर सकते हैं। और अमेरिका से जो सीखना है वो सही चीज हमको सीखना है। जो गलत चीज है उसके पीछे भाग भाग के वी शुड नॉट स्पॉइल आवर ओन हेल्थ, नॉर शुड वी स्पॉइल आवर हेल्थ सिस्टम। तो आगे जाके व्हाट कैन वी डू टू इंक्रीज द वैल्यू ऑफ दिस जस्ट मेडिसिन। तो जस्ट मेडिसिन जो हम बोल रहे हैं, उनके टास्क क्या हो सकते हैं। तो पहला टास्क है जो आप ऑलरेडी शुरू कर चुके हैं, रिसर्च के तरफ। उसके क्या है कि हर एक अलग अलग जो स्ट्रीम्स होते हैं अपना, जैसे एलोपैथी है, होम्योपैथी है, नेचुरोपैथी है, आयुर्वेदा है, यूनानी है, और एंशियंट चाइनीज मेडिसिन है, और अलग अलग लोकल मेडिसिन है, अपने जो दादी बोलते हैं उसका मेडिसिन है। ये अलग अलग वाइड वैरायटी है अपना। लेकिन ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्रॉफिट के कारण या गवर्नमेंट के कारण हमारा एक ही चैनल में जा रहा है मेडिसिन, उसको ब्रॉडन करना है, उसको रिसर्च करना है, हर एक स्ट्रीम एक दूसरे से कैसे इंटरेक्ट करता है वो देखना है। इस चीज के लिए अपना एक रिसर्च का जो टास्क है वो सबसे जरूरी है, वो आप शुरू कर ही चुके हैं। और सब आपके जब एक्सपीरियंस को मिला के लगभग 20 साल एक एक के अगर मिलाएं तो भी लगभग 100 साल के एक्सपीरियंस आप सभी के पास है। उसके ऊपर पिछले 2 साल में तो 200 साल के एक्सपीरियंस हम सबको हो चुका है। तो ये सब में मिला के आपका रिसर्च जो है ऑलरेडी एक लेवल पे पहुंच चुका है। दूसरा बड़ा टास्क है अगले जनरेशन को कैसे एजुकेट करना। तो ये भी एक चीज है जो हम सबसे महत्वपूर्ण एक तरह से लेवल पे डालना है, क्योंकि हम जितना भी कहें, हम जितना भी डिस्कस करें, जितना भी लोगों को बताएं, जब सालों साल हर साल हजारों मेडिकल स्टूडेंट निकल रहे हैं, हजारों करोड़ों मेडिकल स्टूडेंट निकल रहे हैं अपने कॉलेज से, और वो लोग एक ही तरह सोचने लगे तो लगभग यही कोरोना का चक्कर फिर से हम फंसने वाले हैं 5 साल या 10 साल के बाद। तो जो कनेक्शन है, जो डॉक्टर्स को कनेक्शन जो करना है, वो अभी पॉसिबल हो चुका है इंडिया में। 2020 फरवरी 10 को क्या है कि आईसीएमआर के तरफ से और इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के तरफ से एक ओपनिंग मिला कि प्राइवेट डॉक्टर्स कैन नाउ टीच मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स। टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में आर्टिकल आया। तो एक बहुत बड़ा दरवाजा खुला है हम लोगों को टू एक्सेस कॉलेजेस। तो इस चीज के ऊपर भी शायद हम ध्यान रख के उस डायरेक्शन में भी जा सकते हैं। और तीसरा जो है वो आप कर ही रहे हैं, वो भी स्पेशली आशुतोष साहब, आपका तो यही एक्सपर्टीज है कि आउटरीच कैसे करना है, आम आदमी से कैसे मिलना है, कैसे उसको समझाना है, कैसे चैनल क्रिएट करें कि कॉमन मैन को पता चले अलग अलग तरीके के मेडिसिन, अलग सिस्टम का मेडिसिन कैसे हील कर सकता है। और गवर्नमेंट को भी एक्चुअली ऐसे मेडिकल ग्रुप को ही एडवाइस करना, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट लोगों को जो पता है उससे ज्यादा ऐसे आप लोगों के जो एक्सपर्टीज है आपको पता होता है। लेकिन क्या होता है कि रेगुलेशन के हिसाब से पब्लिक हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट जो बना लेते हैं उसी के हिसाब से सब समझते हैं कि वही लोग एक्सपर्ट्स हैं। पर जो एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं वो एक्चुअली अलग अलग तरीके के रिसर्च और अलग टाइप के जो सोच है वो आगे ले जाने वाले लोग एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं। खाली जो एक काउंसिल के ऊपर, मेडिकल काउंसिल के ऊपर बैठ जाने लोग वो नहीं होते हैं। तो उनको भी एडवाइस करने का आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस है, कैपेसिटी भी है, कैपेसिटी और बढ़ा सकते हैं। और तीसरी चीज है आउटरीच टू अदर डॉक्टर्स। जैसे अभी डिस्कस कर रहे थे, आप भी डिस्कस किए होंगे कि अलग स्ट्रीम्स के डॉक्टर्स को कैसे इंटरेक्ट किया जाए, कैसे उनको अंदर लेके आए, और कैसे एक यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को क्रिएट करें अलग अलग डॉक्टर्स को मिला के। तो ये तीन तरफ हमारा टास्क आ जाता है। ये तीनों टास्क जो है एक के ऊपर एक डिपेंडेंट है, कोई एक को हम ज्यादा या कम नहीं बोल सकते, बट दे ऑल वर्क टुगेदर एंड दे ऑल वर्क वंडरफुली वेल। एंड दिस इज एब्सेंट इन द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स फॉर श्योर। रिसर्च है पर प्राइवेट रिसर्च है, फार्मा कंपनी ज्यादा से ज्यादा रिसर्च करवाती है। एजुकेशन है लेकिन मेडिकल टेक्स्ट बुक भी फार्मा कंपनी लिखती है। आउटरीच एडवाइस है वो है सब गवर्नमेंट के तरफ से। तो क्या हो जाता है जब आउटरीच एडवाइस गवर्नमेंट के हाथ में आ जाता है तो वो प्रोपेगेंडा हो जाता है। और अगर आउटरीच और एडवाइस इंडस्ट्री के हाथ में आ जाता है तो वो मार्केटिंग हो जाता है। तो आम आदमी को मेडिकल नॉलेज तो मिलना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है। दैट इज द मेन रीजन व्हाई वी सफर्ड for the last 2 years पूरा वर्ल्ड वाइड इन द क्लचेस ऑफ द कोरोना क्राइसिस। तो इन सब को ओवरकम करने के लिए हमको जस्ट मेडिसिन में ये तीनों आइटम के ऊपर ध्यान रखना है। दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम हियर। और लास्ट चीज हमारा है, एक आपने पोस्टर देखा होगा अपने हीलियन सेंटर में एंटर करते ही, तो उसमें है एक पे अटेंशन, कि अटेंशन से अपना थॉट कंट्रोल होता है, थॉट्स कंट्रोल इमोशंस, इमोशंस कंट्रोल मेटाबॉलिज्म, मेटाबॉलिज्म फाइनली कंट्रोल अपना फिजिकल हेल्थ। तो फिजिकल बॉडी कैसा चलता है उसको फाइनली वो डिटरमिन करता है। लेकिन हमारा जो एजुकेशन है वो शुरू होता है नीचे से। वो शुरू होता है मैकेनिकल मेडिसिन, लगभग एलोपैथी के जो भी होता है वो मैकेनिकल मेडिसिन से शुरू होता है। जैसे आपका हार्ट को पंप बोला, या ब्रेन को सर्क्यूटरी बोला, या मतलब लंग्स को एक तरह से बेलोस बोला। तो ऐसे मैकेनिकल टाइप थिंकिंग इंट्रोड्यूस होता है, और स्पेशली आपके ऑर्थोपेडिक्स वगैरह तो मैकेनिकली ज्यादा होता है, डेंटिस्ट्री भी मैकेनिकल ज्यादा होता है, और केमिकल को तो बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ मेडिसिन, ड्रग्स, एवरीथिंग लाइज इन द केमिकल realm. तो वो क्या है, मैकेनिकल एंड केमिकल इज मेजॉरिटी ऑफ व्हाट पीपल थिंक इज मेडिसिन। मेडिसिन बोले, डॉक्टर बोले तो ज्यादातर लोग they have started thinking that this is medicine. But there is also another layer of medicine, and that is what you get once you go beyond just mechanism and chemistry. तो इसमें आता है न्यूट्रिशनल मेडिसिन। न्यूट्रिशनल मेडिसिन का मतलब जो न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू जो होता है उसको हम कैसे एनहांस करें, केमिकल की इफेक्टिवनेस एनहांस करने के बजाय हाउ डू वी इंक्रीज द न्यूट्रिशनल इफेक्टिवनेस। तो ऑन दिस स्पेशली मेरे मम्मी पापा तो लगभग ऑलमोस्ट 20 साल से रिसर्च भी किए हैं, पेशेंट्स ट्रीट किए हैं, अलग अलग सप्लीमेंट्स ट्राई किए हैं। तो एक एक करके जो है स्टेप्स लिए हैं, विदाउट, ये क्रिटिकल है, विदाउट लूजिंग देयर मेडिकल बैकग्राउंड। तो मेडिकल बैकग्राउंड को हम कहीं छोड़ नहीं रहे हैं, बट इंक्लूडिंग दैट, जैसे ब्लड टेस्ट को देख के न्यूट्रिशन देना, ये सब जो है, these are important things that have to be developed, and my parents are just one example of those who have developed it. और ये हमारा पुराना जो है किचन मेडिसिन जो बोलते हैं, गार्डन मेडिसिन जो बोलते हैं, जो नॉर्मल हमारा फोक टेल्स में आता है, हमारे हेरिटेज में आता है, वो सब भी इसी लेयर को जानता है। तो न्यूट्रिशनल मेडिसिन हुआ, ये ज्यादातर डायरेक्ट मेटाबॉलिज्म के ऊपर इट विल वर्क। उसके ऊपर भी एक लेयर है, ये है थॉट्स कंट्रोल इमोशंस वाली लेयर, वहां पर आता है, ये है साइकोलॉजी एंड लाइफस्टाइल। आजकल सब बोलते हैं कि स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस्ड डिजीजेस आ रहे हैं, सब कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, लेकिन ये जो है द इफेक्ट ऑफ द माइंड, द इफेक्ट ऑफ योर साइकोलॉजी ऑन योर ऑर्गेनिज्म, इस चीज को फोकस करके स्टडी करने का बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज दिस इज अगेन समथिंग दैट इज मिसिंग फ्रॉम आवर मेडिकल एजुकेशन। हमारे पुराने टाइप्स के जो हेरिटेज था उसमें तो है ये, आयुर्वेदा में तो ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं इस चीज के। तो पर्सनालिटी टाइप्स जो देखते हैं, और शायद कल मेरे पापा ने थोड़ा इसके बारे में डिस्क्राइब किया होगा, तो हाउ डज पर्सनालिटी टाइप एंड साइकोलॉजी अफेक्ट द बॉडी, एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मेडिसिन डज दैट रिक्वायर। तो ये एक चीज है, वी हैव टू इंक्लूड दैट। और इन दोनों, between these four items you have naturopathy, homeopathy, and allopathy, and also to some level ayurveda and psychology, ये सब इसमें आता है। ये जो ऊपर के दो जो कैटेगरी हैं, these are not usually known as requirements of medicine। मतलब what do I mean, मतलब जो हमको एजुकेशन दिया जाता है, the type of education we receive affects our health। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी आप एक बच्चे को बहुत जल्दी अगर मैथमेटिक्स सिखा देते हैं, जो चीज उनको 12, 13, 14 एज में उनको सीखना है, उसको आप अगर 5, 6, 7 के उम्र में आप सिखा देते हैं, तो उसके कारण जो मेंटल डेवलपमेंट, ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट सब अफेक्ट होके बाय द टाइम दैट पर्सन इज 60, और बाय द टाइम इवन द पर्सन इज 50, उनको स्क्लेरोसिस के बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स आने लगते हैं। ऐसे कुछ रिसर्च हुआ है जर्मनी वगैरह में। तो ये चीज नॉट मेनी पीपल नो। अगर फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग नहीं देते हैं यंगर एज में, तो एट अ लेटर एज योर थिंकिंग कैपेसिटी विल गो डाउन। अभी आप देख ही रहे होंगे, बहुत अल्जाइमर्स हो रहे हैं, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है। मेजॉरिटी इनका प्रॉब्लम इसीलिए होता है बिकॉज फिजिकल एक्टिविटी इज मच लेसर इन अ यंगर एज, फिजिकल एजुकेशन इज लेस। तो फिजिकल एजुकेशन कम किया तो बाद में मेंटल एजुकेशन में प्रॉब्लम होता है। पीपल विल नॉट हैव द कैपेसिटी टू एजुकेट देमसेल्व्स बिकॉज ऑफ दैट एट अ लेटर एज। तो दिस लेयर of medicine is very little known. And that is also something that could be explored by all of you experienced people in the health field. And last thing, where attention controls thoughts. So that is a totally different layer. This is what affects our concentration, and how we concentrate determines how we are able to deal with our emotions and thoughts, which in turn deals with how our health goes. तो जो माइंड का जो अटेंशन को ही हम चैनल कर रहे हैं ना, वो भी एक मेडिसिन है. To ask somebody to change their profession because they are getting too distracted and disturbed in one, and to pick up something where they can concentrate, that is also a medical decision. So this is another layer of medicine which has not been really explored. तो इस तरीके के जो लेयर लेयर का जो मेडिसिन होता है, उसका भी एक नाम है एंथ्रोपोसॉफिक मेडिसिन करके. मेरे पेरेंट्स बाद में शायद आपको बताएंगे. पर ये जो मेडिसिन है, it takes into account the entire human being in all his activities and all her activities. This type of medicine has been the basis for the cancer therapy वगैरह जो हीलियम में चालू किया है. All of that is based on knowing the different layers of medicine. तो different layers of medicine, हम एक तरह से if we become familiar with it, तो क्या होता है, we can also talk with the people from different streams without anybody putting anybody down. मतलब हम आयुर्वेदा के एक्सपर्ट के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, नेचुरोपैथ के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, जो इंटीग्रेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, इंटीग्रेटिव मेडिसिन लोगों के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, साइकोलॉजिस्ट के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, टीचर्स के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, किसी के बॉस के साथ भी शायद फोन कॉल करके बात कर सकते हैं कि कैसे एम्प्लॉय को ट्रीट करें ताकि उनके हेल्थ ठीक हो जाए. तो ये अलग अलग जो लेयर्स हैं, इन सबको जो एक साथ लेके जाने का जो मेथड है, ये एंथ्रोपोसॉफिक मेडिसिन जो बोलते हैं, ये एक तरह से सब कुछ कवर करता है और सब कुछ सारे सारे टाइप ऑफ मेडिसिन को नरिश करता है. तो विद दिस आई वुड लाइक टू कम टू द एंड ऑफ माय प्रेजेंटेशन. आप जो कर रहे हैं, आप सभी कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू फॉर ऑल योर करेज. एक कोट के साथ एंड करना चाहता हूं कि इन अ टाइम ऑफ यूनिवर्सल डिसीट, टेलिंग द ट्रूथ इज अ रेवोल्यूशनरी एक्ट. तो वो चीज आप कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए आई एम वेरी हैप्पी. स्मिथ इज ऑल्सो वेरी हैप्पी. So with that, I come to the end of what I wanted to share with you all.
Yeah, Gopi, this is Praveen Saxena. Gopi, I happen to, this was a great kind of thing what you have shown. What I would like to add is maybe sitting out there, are you trying to look into something like, see, I worked on something called biophysics. I don't depend everything on changing the drugs are the ultimate thing, and other things. I would like to ask you, there were some drastic changes when it comes to pollution, electro pollution. There are big things, or you can understand 3G, 4G, and now we talk about 60 GB. This one, I had seen in my practice, people, my practice is usually autism, ADHD, people with mental psychosis and all that. This has been on a tremendous rise. It is something which we never thought why these people are getting into depression with no cause. They are good achievers in the society, and they had all the time anxiety, hypertension, and all that. So I think we try to look at the denominator, which is maybe we were trying to work on in this pandemic also, particularly in India. We had work from home culture. School people's the kids were doing all online courses and all. I had seen parents affected by them because the incessant exposure to this stupid Wi-Fi.
Mm.
I tell stupid Wi-Fi because I have reasons to say that, and people are not aware. They don't switch off their Wi-Fi or a cell phone in the night. They think that 24/7 is a kind of, they can always show that particular stuff. We use Wi-Fi 24 by 7. Even our Kamwali Bai, everyone has been hooked on a cell phone. So, as a physician trying to work on an environmental medicine, and I see we used to, when we completed our medicine, we used to think that it's the tobacco, it's a tuberculosis, or there are some things, alcohol, which are the major deterrents for the health. And I now see the major deterrents have been that there is a change actually. What changes I want to tell you is there is a big kind of aluminium toxicity. You should come back to India and see how things are there. Even the tea, what was brought, normally they pack in the aluminum foils. The plastic is on excessive use. The cell phone is being, I say this is it's a huge regard or something like that. Technology. I'm a technology man. I try to use my technology a lot, but at the same time, I don't want people to suffer unnecessarily with no fault of theirs. So worked in cases mostly with cancers and all that, trying to work with all this autoimmune disease and all that. If I bring down one variable, which is unnecessary radiation, which is invisible, it is an elephant in the room, and none of us are able to see that particular stuff. That is one thing, and maybe we can focus. See, the doctors are usually usually they take the blame. It's not like that. People, doctors, I can always tell you there are very good mainstream doctors doing some excellent work. Only thing is, yes, when the whole the hospitals are getting Wi-Fi, everything is being converted into a kind of I think it's really when we look into this 5G Wuhan experiment, what has been done. I don't think all of us sitting at least in this metros and all that, we are having some huge advances in this one. Now we are now with the 5G, we think of driverless cars and all. It's all good, but this radiation is really causing a big change. I can tell you about this. I was discussing with Raman here. See, this Wi-Fi technology, even with we are using the 4G or 3G also, we there is a it works at 2.4 gigahertz. That 2.4 gigahertz is the kind of frequency our DNA that your body vibrates. So this is usually causing a problem. The problems which now in the modern day society are autism, psychological problems. We see a lot of people getting into psychiatric issues, cancers, autoimmune disease, and all that. Yes, we need everything. We need our traditional medicines. We need, at the same time, I believe if you are, I don't know about what others think and all that, but this telecom industry is one thing which has major caused a great impact. One is the telecom industry, another, yeah, and another one is the agriculture industry. I'm telling about there is something like glyphosates which are being pushed across. So it's not my question, Doctor. I'm just trying to share my views, and I want to know that what is Gopi Krishna's because I admire him because you are the one of the facilitator for this particular stuff. I really see. Are you thinking on these lines? And something can be done on this particular aspects too. Yeah, sorry for being on a monotonous pitch, but I thought I need to give that kind of backdrop from where we are trying to look into all these things. Yes, we need so many things for India now. Not as a whole globe actually requires all these things. And if the people are not aware, the thing is, our chief minister thought he will do a Wi-Fi for the whole city 24/7. We asked when we are not able to give drinking water for 24 hours, they give drinking water once in a 2 days. Why? What is the fun of giving Wi-Fi for 24 hours? So these are also uncomfortable things. But I'd like to, Gopi, I'd like to know your views. We can always chat later. Let us look into some other people's aspects.
Okay. Let me answer in just a few sentences about the topic. What you're describing is extremely important, and it affects people on two levels. One is the basic body level, health level, metabolism level, which affects basically how our nerves even function. The other one is how it affects the mind that we have. For example, one thing is, the antenna, no? So when you have an antenna, and radiation comes, that antenna is what allows you to take the radiation in the form of electricity, and it converts it into electrical signal. So radio wave comes, it creates electricity. That same process is happening in all our nerves when you're in the ocean of Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is like an ocean of radiation, in which the nervous system, particularly the nervous system of the body, is constantly reacting to it. It is becoming an antenna. We have become, our nervous system becomes an antenna and starts picking stuff up which we don't know what to do with. And that disturbance leads to a cascade of problems. What you're describing, autism, what you're describing, other mental issues, the depression issues, all these things, they all occur as a kind of chain reaction because our nervous system is no longer normal. And you will also have multiple sclerosis, all these problems, mainly because of the excessive use of Wi-Fi. This is an extremely important field of research. And just like pharma, nobody researches it in an open mind, because, well, like you said, telecom industry, all those industries come and meddle with the research, so they won't allow you to tell these things. Just like it took tobacco companies 46 years to admit that tobacco is addictive, even for something as strong as the internet, almost nobody will agree that we are living in this kind of ocean. So I agree with that. Second layer, which is in fact even more disturbing, I'm seeing, is the effect it has on mental development of youngsters. Because the way in which, the Wi-Fi is just it's like the soil. In that soil, all kinds of weeds can come. So one of the weeds is virus can grow and you can get sick. Another weed is, okay, you can be mentally disturbed. The third big one is you cannot think straight. That's why one of the things commonly seen in the whole COVID stuff is brain fog, because people cannot think straight. And after excessive use of digital devices and all those devices that run on Wi-Fi, we also have problem with our attention span, memory. All these things are getting affected. So these things also, there is nobody explaining to the society about the importance of these things. Everybody gives a mobile phone to your 2-year-old, not realizing they are completely destroying that person's thinking capacity for the rest of their lives. They are not understanding the magnitude. You might as well give the kid some heroin or ganja, because that is less dangerous than giving the kid one mobile phone at that age. So people don't realize that seriousness, and also the seriousness of how it affects the biological and physical systems. So yes, sir, I totally agree.
In fact, Gopi, the newborn is greeted with a phone. The newborn is greeted with a phone, and they was given the phone, and he cries at the happiness of his grandparents somewhere else. So the culture is absolutely, people are not aware about these things and all that. Yeah, I have my 1 year old. I have a patient who has got some ADHD, learning disabilities. Or usually they come by 2 years, but with the kind of, the parents are very this one, and they just give that, give the cell phone to the child, and they are very happy. The child is able to do all the kind of things which he had, the parents not have done it. He serves everything. He tries to pick up his rhymes from the YouTube and all that. And the parents, they think that there's something there. The child is a good achiever and all. So this kind of mindset, this kind of knowledge, we have to inculcate among the people here. And it's because already the kind of water has come up to here, Gopi. It's not. People are not educated. We keep telling, okay, tobacco is bad. We know smoking and all that, but this is more dangerous than that particular stuff.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
happy you're on the same page.
yes,
Thanks, Gopi.
yes. Thank you.
Gopi, first of all, let me congratulate you. I think that you are the worthy son of worthy parent. For last 2 days, we have been discussing on several issues, and Dr. Saxena kept pushing his thought, and we were unable to address him properly because all the doctors are expert, but in their domain. and Dr. Saxena was briefing something regarding technology, and we are happy that at least you convinced him that we are all on the same page as
Yes.
far as technological hazard is concerned and
Yeah.
how technology is affecting us.
Yeah. Even Smith,
And
the technological.
and
Hmm.
let me tell you, we are all obliged that you shared your valuable inputs with us. And as you have heard the address of Dr. Peter McCullough, I had a talk with Dr. Sucharit Bhakri
Hmm.
and one of the researcher from Germany, Lawrence Borche. He also assured us that he is going to support our couch, which we have uh, almost decided, and we gathered from all across India. And there are many more doctors, lawyers, journalists, activists, and professors are watching us live through this medium. And we are in touch with a few retired judges too. They are also expressed their concern that whatever we are thinking now for Universal Health Organization, they are saying that they will extend their support to any extent. So we hope that we shall be able to launch our idea in Latin and spirit. And as far as our intention, accountability, transparency, and responsibility will make us successful. So let me again thank you that you are from US supporting us in all the way, and with your new idea, concepts, and research. That is very valuable for all of us. So thank you once again. I think Dr. Banerjee and Dr. Kuswaha and Bhaskar Raman, anyone would like to ask anything to Gopi Krishna, you may ask, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gopi Krishna. It's very encouraging. The young people should take it forward. We will just like to support you, and we are very happy. We require the next generation to step forward because this is going to impact the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'm not a full doctor. I'm physics doctor.
Oh, we require all hands on board.
Thank you.
Would you like to ask anything, or would you like to share your thought? Because yesterday, whatever you said, we were very happy. Can you share your thought now?
Yeah, so I would just like to reiterate one of the points which I made yesterday. Before that, let me thank Gopi for being one of the drivers of this initiative. I really look forward to this platform, UHO, being a forum for healthy disagreement. There should be disagreement among scientists. We cannot all be in agreement on all issues. There will be uncertainties. There are uncertainties now. There will be uncertainties in the future. Universal agreement is not a characteristic of science at all. In fact, there are always disagreements among scientists. There should be a way to constructively engage with one another to debate and find the truth together rather than censor and do things like name calling and have echo chambers and moral panic which happens in social media. Instead of that, we need to have a forum for constructive disagreement where we engage and find the truth together. And I look forward to this UHO providing a platform for the same.
Yes, and on that, I'd like to make one small point. That is, one of the intentions in putting those things like layers is also to help different people to handle their disagreements. Because, say, Ayurveda people may say something, maybe an allopathic physician may not see that that is suitable, and somebody else may think something else. When different streams come together, there can be confusion, there can be disagreements. But if we are able to see which layer the person is talking about, that will at least lead to greater understanding, and people will see that, okay, I am speaking in this layer, this person is speaking from that layer, so that is why the difference is in what we are saying. So in that is the intention of bringing that kind of thought into this. So thank you for expressing the same thing.
Before winding up the show and the event, I think the session, Gopi, what we are saying in camera frame, there is a lady sitting, and I think that she's your better half.
Yes.
Yeah, before closing, if she can express herself.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Netu, and I'm very glad to see all of you at our center. It's almost like a dream come true. We were hoping that a different kind of organization to renew medicine could start, and I'm very thankful to all of you to trust in us and our parents, and to come all the way to Bangalore for this. And I hope to work with all of you going forward. Thank you.
Now I would like to Dr. Banerjee or Kuswaha. Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Banerjee or Kuswaha, both you may announce the resolution which we passed almost 15 minutes before. Can you please announce about the UHO, Universal Health Organization, what this organization is going to be?
Thank you, Mr. Asutosh. This, as we have been discussing, and just to put it together in one place, this would be the basic ethos would be transparency, empowerment, and accountability. The one of the major setbacks we saw in this pandemic has been the censorship of any debate, censorship of any sort of doubt of even untested technologies or untested methods, which had caused much collateral damage. So we want that there should be transparency to other opinion also should be discussed, debated, and a consensus should be reached after hearing all sides, as also brought out by Gopi, that there may be different ways of looking at one thing, but overall we have to see the net result. What is the outcome? Everybody should aim for a desirable outcome rather than causing harm. All things have come up in bits and pieces, like some measures have caused more harm than benefit. People have lost their livelihoods, hardly the transmission, and the disease was not causing so much mortality in young people. All these have come up. So that transparency was not evident in this present pandemic. So of first year, the main ethos would be transparency, that whatever information is there, we will be mining those information, keeping it on a website for public debate, for discussion, for collation, and out of that deductions, and always ready to accommodate other ideas and debate it. Then empowerment. Second is empowerment is empowering the people, the population, the general public, all walks of society, all professionals. That is empowerment. Again, this was missing in this pandemic.
Correct.
People, population were treated like young people, the patriarchal attitude, authoritarian attitude. So that empowerment was missing, and which also threatens basic human rights. So this empowerment is another second strong pillar of universal health organization. And third would be the accountability, which is again very important, because whenever there is no accountability of public servants, of authorities, people were making wrong statements and getting away with it without facing the music. So that also should be our aim. So for that, we would require the human rights people, we would require the advocates, the lawyers, the legal experts, to how to hold people to accountability. So this would be the main, and this would be a platform for exchange of ideas, exchange of views, exchange of debates, and that is how we intend to go forward. Dr. Kuswaha, you may add something.
I think every point has been already covered, and the aim behind getting together on this platform is to see that the ethics of medicine, ethics of public health practice, the science, the debate, this survives during any crisis. In the name of larger good of the public, at times draconian measures which prove counterproductive, which has been already established beyond doubt, must be avoided. And I think we should learn our lessons well so that the next disaster, whenever it strikes, we deal it more intelligently, more scientifically, more ethically. Thank you. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank
Now,
you.
I think you're muted.
Yeah.
it's a great privilege for me, particularly, because on behalf of all the engineers, doctors, lawyers, professors from all across the world, not from India, I got the privilege, we got the privilege that we should announce today formally that Universal Health Organization going to be a big organization, and probably this Sunday and this date would be remembered as the greatest day in human history. And as Dr. Peter McCullough confirmed and supported our cause, what he said that he will support out and out, we hope that we shall be doing some justice and we shall make humanity answerable and whole human world will be answerable. मुझे ये बहुत खुशी हो रही है, बल्कि मैं बहुत भावुक भी हूं, इमोशनल भी हूं। हमने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि कुछ डॉक्टर्स मिलेंगे और कुछ इंजीनियर्स मिलेंगे, कुछ लॉयर्स मिलेंगे और वो इस तरह का सपना देखेंगे भी, और आज ये सपना साकार होने जा रहा है। गोपी कृष्णा, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई, आपने बहुत मेहनत किया है। और डॉक्टर पीटर मकाला, आपको भी बहुत शुक्रिया। डॉक्टर कुशवाहा, डॉक्टर बैनर्जी, रमन भास्कर और तमाम जो हमारे दुनिया भर से जो डॉक्टर्स प्रोफेसर जुड़े हुए हैं, सबका शुक्रिया। आज का ये सेशन, हम जो वीडियो सेशन है वो समाप्त करते हैं। हम लोगों का जो ऑफलाइन सेशन है वो जारी रहेगा। आप सबका शुक्रिया। नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। नमस्कार।